This is the parish church of St John Baptist, which is the largest church in Gloucestershire and the fifth largest church in the whole of England. It was originally built as a Roman Catholic church, tracing its history to the Roman city of Corinium. In 1130, we believe the present foundations were begun. Cirencester was the centre of the wool trade because of its road connections created by the Romans, and the church was enlarged thanks to the wealthy patrons. The town hall, or south porch as it is commonly known, was built by the abbot of Cirencester between 1480 and 1520 and served as his office. It is a most impressive building. Inside the church we come to the nave, and here we see the wooden pews and the very splendid pulpit, which is shaped like a wine glass, built, we believe, about 1430, and it includes a timer for the sermon. The clerestory windows were built when the church was enlarged in 1430, and this provided a lot more light into the church. The splendid cross we see was only recently donated by two sisters. It was made in Bristol and is a copy of a Russian cross. Behind the cross we see the splendid timber ceiling of the chancel. The chancel, of course, contains the altar and the large east window, and the reredos behind the altar, which was actually made in Oberammergau in 1870 and donated once again by wealthy members of the congregation. We can now see the splendid organ pipes, which were remodelled in 2009. It's a Willis organ, which is built to the same standard as you would find in a cathedral. Here we see the organ itself. We now come to St Catherine's Chapel. St Catherine's Chapel was built in 1150 and is one of the oldest parts of the church. Again, it has a splendid reredos and a splendid stained glass window and wall paintings. In the days long before printed material, of course, wall paintings were the way in which the general public were educated in the world, and in particular the world of God and Christianity. This next part shows a longer view of St Catherine's Chapel, and you can see the splendid fan vaulted ceiling, which we believe was a gift from one of the abbots of St Mary's, the Augustinian Abbey, which stood in the grounds, which are now the Abbey grounds. The Abbey, of course, being demolished when King Henry VIII abolished the monasteries. We now come to a view of the Trinity Chapel. The Trinity Chapel was built in about 1430 and is dedicated to the royal family. It is a splendid chapel with beautiful stained glass windows, and in the last 400 years contains monuments to the Bathurst family in particular, who of course still live in the town. Here we see the stained glass windows and also some of the brasses on the walls in memory of notable families and benefactors. There is now a view of the altar and of the stone reredos, which includes those two maquettes of the statues that have been erected in 2021. Also, examples of the many brasses in the floor of the Trinity Chapel, which many people come to view and take brass rubbings of. We next visit the Lady Chapel. The Lady Chapel was built about 1240 and also contains wall paintings, finally we come to the south aisle, and this shows you the wonderful early Gothic perpendicular stone columns which make this church look rather like a cathedral in terms of its size and grandeur, all of course thanks to the benefactors from the wool trade. The Monarch's Memorial is below the window which faces west. And we now turn towards the remainder of the organ pipes, and in the right-hand corner is the Garstang Chapel. The Garstang Chapel was built about 1440, and illustrated is the bowling cup, which was given by Dr. Masters to the church, Dr. Masters being the physician who was present at the birth of Queen Elizabeth I, whose mother of course was Anne Boleyn, hence it is called the bowling cup. It was one of a pair of chalices, the other one is in possession of our present Queen Elizabeth II.